Hello and welcome. Today I will do a quick comparison between the two lavalier microphones, Boya M1 that I've been using for a while now, and Shure MVL clip-on lavalier microphone, which I bought as a possible upgrade to the Boya. So, a quick background: Boya M1 has firmly established itself as a solid budget proposition when it comes to entry-level lavalier microphones. Priced about 15 to 20 US dollars, it really punches above its price weight, so to speak. I personally have been using it for last year, running my other YouTube channel. I will of course leave a link in the description for you to check it out. Apologies for shameless plug. As for the Shure MVL, coming at the price of about 50 US dollars, it is somewhat 2.5 times more expensive than Boya, but still I think it is quite a compelling proposition, especially taking into account the pedigree of Shure as a brand and its history of designing microphones for music and broadcasting industry. So I will quickly go through the physical design differences between these two microphones, what we get in the packages, pros and cons of using these two microphones, and of course a million-dollar question: which one sounds better? And I'm recording this video on a completely different microphone than this one, so apologies for quite a poor sound quality, but I thought it would be better to record it on a separate microphone to ensure that we can hear clear the differences between the two microphones that we are reviewing here. So, without any further ado, let's jump right in. Packages are very similar on both microphones. We get warranty cards, user manuals, and a sort of leatherette or leather imitation pouch. If you look at the actual microphones, Boya is quite versatile. It has a TRS connector, that is tip ring sleeve. Yes, it is that simple, and by changing the switch position on the selector, it will allow you to connect to either your mobile phone or your video camera if you have a 3.5mm audio socket on it, which is pretty much standard these days. Of course, for more recent Apple iPhones we will need a special connector, and this applies to both microphones. The distance from the Boya microphone to the selector is about 1 meter and 15 centimeters, and full length of the wire is just over 6 meters. There is a small and handy Velcro strip to keep this long wire in check, and the distance between the microphone and the selector allows for a comfortable positioning of the selector either in the pocket or on the belt. The length of the wire might look as a bit of a nuisance at the first glance, however, in my opinion it is a small price to pay if you want to position yourself a little bit further from the camera without investing in a wireless microphone solution, which could easily drive the cost up. Now, with the Shure lavalier microphone, it also has a TRS connector, and if you only want to connect it to your mobile phone, which it is primarily designed for, you are sorted out of the box, so to speak. With a wire length of about 1 meter and 27 centimeters, it will work great if you have your phone in your pocket as your recording device, or if you position your phone about 1 meter or less from your face if you use your phone for your videos. Now, for any longer distances you will need some kind of extension, which of course we can get separately but at extra cost. Things get a bit more complex if we want to connect to the camera. Most cameras do have a 3.5mm TRS type socket, which will not work directly with the TRS 3.5mm plug. So, while on a Boya microphone we only need to flick the switch if we want to select between mobile phone and a camera, with a Shure microphone we will need some kind of converter adapter here as well. So the good news is all of these are available and are not expensive. However, again, all this adds up to the cost, and it would be nice to have all of these accessories available the same way as we have on the Boya microphone. Now let's look at the actual microphones in a bit more details. Both are omnidirectional condenser microphones. Just in case you are not familiar, omnidirectional of course means that the microphone will pick up the sounds pretty much from any direction. This might be a bit of a disadvantage, because that means that if your room is very echoey, like this one, or you have any other background noise, it will most likely make its way into the microphone. However, it is not a major problem with the lavalier type of microphones, because they are usually quite close to the source of your sound, well, in our case to our mouth. Both microphones come with a very similar little metal crocodile clip. It is one of the better clip types in my opinion. It is quite sturdy and yet the microphone will come loose if it's pulled by accident. Both microphones also have a sort of windscreen which will shield some wind if you are recording in outdoor environments. As for the size of the heads of the microphones, well, the Shure one is noticeably smaller than the Boya one. I used Boya for a while and it is slightly bigger size never presented a problem, even if I had to hide it under the shirt. However, seeing it next to the Shure one, I can see now how much smaller the Shure microphone really is. Therefore, probably it will present more options if you want to hide it under your clothes or your shirt or t-shirt, and will not stand out as much as Boya microphone if it's actually clipped outside. And just before we move on to the sound testing, in terms of the connectivity of the Shure microphone, so I actually used a TRS splitter here, plugging the microphone output into my mirrorless camera. I have a short and a long one, that is in case if I want to position the camera a bit further. So let's do a sound test between these two microphones. I will read a part of the marketing material for one of the microphones, and I will not do any post-processing except for just a level adjustment. Also, if you're listening to this on a phone or on some kind of device with a not very good quality speakers, it's probably best to put headphones so you can actually hear the difference between how these two sound. So here we go. This is going to be a Shure one. Clear spoken word every time. Don't let that wind or background noise ruin your latest interview or podcast. Get closer to your sound source and give your listeners unrivaled audio quality, whether you are recording inside or on location. And now this is going to be a Boya. Clear spoken word every time. Don't let the wind or background noise ruin your latest interview or podcast. Get closer to your sound source and give your listeners unrivaled audio quality, whether you are recording inside or on location. Here is my usual Boya post-processing, with post-processing applied. Clear spoken word every time. Don't let that wind or background noise ruin your latest interview or podcast. Get closer to your sound source and give your listeners unrivaled audio quality, whether you are recording inside or on location. And here is the Shure for the post-processing as well. Clear spoken word every time. Don't let that wind or background noise ruin your latest interview or podcast. Get closer to your sound source and give your listeners unrivaled audio quality, whether you are recording inside or on location. And now, to check the background noise, I'm just gonna go quiet for a few seconds. And now the background noise, I'll just go quiet for a few seconds. Personally, I like the sound of the Shure microphone. I think it sounds a bit more natural and it has a good mid-tone sensitivity. The bass is not as strong as on the Boya though, so if you like bass, maybe it's not for you. However, I think this can be easily adjusted in post-production. Also, it seems that Shure microphone is a bit less sensitive to the background noise, and also it seemed to have a bit lower noise floor. This is not a groundbreaking difference, however, I don't have a professional recording studio, as you can probably notice, with ideal sound isolation and sound treatment, so therefore I always struggle with some kind of echo, so anything that will lower that echo is a welcome change on my part. Looks like, personally, I think the Shure microphone is actually a good upgrade in this case. However, it would be interesting to hear your opinion. Which sound do you prefer, of which microphones, the Boya or the Shure one? Please let us know in the comments. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to hit that like button for that notorious YouTube algorithm, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one.